In order to stop meltdowns, you have to understand how important routines are to people with Asperger's syndrome. People with Asperger's syndrome need to have a routine and need to know what is going to happen next all the time. Routine is stabilizing and essential to people with Asperger's syndrome. They get very anxious when they're not prepared for what will happen. Having a routine and predictability helps those with Asperger's syndrome feel safe. Whether you're meeting someone with Asperger's syndrome for the first time or trying to figure out how best to help a loved one, creating a routine, using explicit, literal, verbal language to communicate, being aware of sensory issues, and trying to minimize them as much as possible, and having a lot of love and understanding will go a long way to helping people with Asperger's navigate the world. Consistency is important for people with Asperger's syndrome. What are some things a parent can do to help? The most important thing is to be consistent. Everyone, but especially kids with Asperger's syndrome, thrive on routine. Everything needs to be done at the same time, in the same way, every day, as much as possible to give a sense of safety and security. When you talk to your loved one with Asperger's, you should use a calm and even tone of voice and use explicit language that says exactly what you mean. Do not make requests too complicated or ask a child, teenager, or even an adult with Asperger's syndrome to do things with too many steps at once. Try to keep your language as literal as possible. Try to be very verbal. If your child does something right, praise them for it. But this advice is definitely not just for children. I received this email from an adult which describes how he feels when things get complicated and he begins to melt down. He says, "An Aspie is like a juggler who can keep one ball in the air at a time, but struggles with more than one. Right now I'm battling with 4 or 5 balls, problems that just do not seem to get resolved, and at times, like today, and my mind is on overload and cannot cope, it just goes blank. I forget things, lose things, which is uncharacteristic. Can you recommend anything to help me, please?" Meltdowns can occur in adults as well as children with Asperger's syndrome. If your loved one has a meltdown, the most important thing to remember when dealing with these situations is to try to figure out what causes them. Your loved one is not doing this to intentionally annoy you. He is doing it because he has reached his limit of tolerance in whatever he's dealing with. If you feel his breakdown is caused by a change in routine, reassure him of the routine for the rest of the day and that the routine will not change the next day if that is the case. To learn more about Asperger's syndrome, go to the website aspergerssociety.org. There you can learn more about treating your loved one with Asperger's syndrome as well as sign up for the free newsletter.